Hey, what's up, guys? This is Michael from Family Gamer Review, and today we are covering Peggle 2 for day 8 of the Light It Up Blue Challenge. Now, last several days we covered Pac-Man, we covered Miss Pac-Man, and other games that dealt, Pinball FX too, that dealt with, the rails and like how the rails are similar to train rails and so forth, and how they help in different spectrums, or like different levels of spectrum and so forth. And today we just wanted to cover just a fun game that is fun all around. Now, as you see here, this is Peggle 2. Now, for those that don't know what the Peggle series is, it's kind of like a carnival game, like you would see at the carnival. Like you shoot a ball from the top and, it comes down, and the objective is to hit the orange pegs with the least amount of balls, and the characters have special abilities that you use, and if you get it into the bucket in the bottom, then you save that ball from, being balled out, like you just saw right there. Now, this is a fun game overall for everyone. Again, one of the big things that we always say about gaming, it should be as fun or as complex a game should be, the controls should be easy enough for anyone to pick up and play. And that's like one of the big concerns that we always have when we review games. Now, Peggle 2 is very simple. One control to, the left joystick to move the shooter from left to right, and then the A button or the X button on the PlayStation 4. I have to look at my PS4 controller for a moment there to shoot the ball. Now, there's other controls that you could use. You could use the right or left shoulder buttons to do more precision. You could fast forward by pushing the X on the Xbox One or the square on the PlayStation 4. So in case you want to line up your shot. But, that's getting more of technical, where, the reason for today's Twitch is to show why this is a fun game. This game, actually, it's a riot in our office, with all levels of autism on the spectral level. A lot of times, myself and Camille play this game a lot when we're doing play testings, when we're helping children at first, get into the gaming world. Like, a lot of parents will talk to us about what's a good game to start off with playing with my child. My child may be on this part of the spectrum or that part of the spectrum, and the one universal answer that both Camille and myself give is Peggle 2. Peggle 2 is also available on the PC and the tablets and so forth, but the experience you want to have when you first play is something that's easy for both a parent to play as well as a child, and that's like where Peggle comes in. You have to ask yourself, like, okay, is this a game that could be easily played by me? Do I have to learn a lot of controls? The answer is no. It is something that easily could be played by everyone, and this is one of those games. We've actually done a lot of play testing with this when we work with, special needs and so forth, and when we do group sessions. This is the first game that comes out in the group session where everybody enjoys. Now, everyone's different. Everyone has different taste in gaming. Everyone has a different style of gaming. But when it comes to universally, what a game that everyone can play and love is Peggle 2. So that being said, as you see here, this is one of the trials that we're working on. I decided to start new with the FGR account that we have for the Xbox One, because I wanted to showcase like how, as you progress in the game, that you unlock new characters, new abilities, new levels. Oh, excuse me. Still suffering from these allergies, and how the levels do get a little bit advanced. Now, when we did a review on this game a couple of months ago, we gave the game a 9.5, and the reason why for it is because it is very friendly for anyone in the family. But again, like how we were saying, because for Light It Up Blue, this is one of those games that we had to showcase. And when Camilla and I were working on the list in March, like, hey, what are the top games that we have to let parents know that is a must-have? Peggle was at the top of that list. And again, as you see here, like the little, want to call him Sasquatch, or the snowman, the bottom of the snowman, his ability is to freeze everything, and as you hit everything, they bounce and collide with others, causing more points. Like right here, the loose Peggles, they float as the orange one hit the blue one, and this helps with your bonus multiplier. Now, I can't even say anything more kind about Peggle 2. Like PopCap Games and EA, they pretty much just had themselves the ability to print money when they made this game. It's a fun overall game. There's even a story. I won't use names here, but when we talked with a family member that has a son that they just realized was on the spectrum, the father is a hardcore gamer. He loves gaming, and he scoffed at the idea of playing something like this. Like, no, I'm a hardcore sports fan. I'm never going to touch a game like this. Michael, how dare you suggest that, you know? How could you call yourself a gamer and not play this? But when he actually realized that now his son, you know, that was just discovered to be on the spectrum, cannot keep up with the gaming with the father, he realized, okay, I need to play something that both myself and my son could enjoy. And that's where Peggle comes. He actually now plays semi-competitively, which is a funny thing because he goes on multiplayer, plays against others, and he has a great time with it. And I just spoke with him maybe 2-3 days ago, and he was telling me that how much him and his son love Peggle, and now that they were going to Disney World, that they had to find where Peggle was in the store, the Google Play Store, and then on their iPhones. So during the trip on the flight, their son could actually play the game and still be occupied, because this was the only game at the time that he really enjoyed. There's other games that they play, but this was like a must-have game for the flight. So, and then there is a game like the original Peggle is available on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and it's available on the Xbox One via backwards compatibility play. And if you are really interested in playing the game or the series, and you want to understand it better before you dive into Peggle 2, I would highly recommend playing the first Peggle. And we're not going to make this a long broadcast, as you know, this game is not that difficult to understand or play. So what I'm going to do is turn this mic over, as everything's live, to Camille, our resident expert here on behaviors and so forth, and I'm going to let her talk for a few minutes about embracing the Peggle. So give me 1 second.
Hey everyone, Camille here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part. Most of all, thank you for being a part of our 30-day Lighted Up Blue Challenge. It means a lot to us that other people care about this, and it means just as much to other people as it does to us. Remember, it is not just a catchy slogan. Families that play together stay together. Peggle. Embracing the Peggle. It's funny that Mike told you that story about the guy who, you know, went from feeling that he was too hardcore, so to speak, to play Peggle, to now being semi-competitive, because the simple fact is Peggle is so much fun. It is so addictive that no matter what skill level you are, no matter what age, special needs or not, you are going to love Peggle. So just like I said about Pac-Man Championship Edition, it's one of those titles where if there were a quote-unquote must-have list, it would be Peggle. From a special needs perspective, believe it or not, there's a common thread that you may not see right away on the surface, and that's that to you and I, or to your average person, they may just see, you know, the random shooting of balls in order to clear the orange pegs. But to certain special needs kids, again, no two are ever alike, but some of them actually see very, very precise trajectory, strategy, and as Michael just got completely lucky by clearing that bar, as you saw, some of our special needs playtesters were able to, after just a few minutes of getting used to the game, were able to start executing patterns like that and strategies that were just amazing. And they loved it. And Everyone loves it. And it's also very calming. If you have a child or a family member of any age who's on the spectrum, and I will be so bold as to say even not on the spectrum, Peggle can be so stress relieving and so calming that if outbursts are an issue, if anger is an issue, Peggle could very well be the answer. And don't take my word for it, test it. I'm not kidding. Come home from a stressful day at work, and instead of reaching for a glass of wine, humor me for one night, come home and play 30 minutes of Peggle. And feel free to reach out to us in social media and tell me if it didn't make you feel just as relieved and relaxed, if not even more so, than a glass of wine or a drink after work. Let's see if Mike gets lucky again. No. But I'll tell you, some of our special needs playtesters, they were clearing those slides every time. Oh, there is a multiplayer aspect, which is really great. Sometimes Mike and I will take turns peggling. I'm going to turn that into a verb. Peggling. As you can see, there is literally nothing in here in Peggle, in the Peggle verse, that could be offensive to anyone. This furry little guy here, the characters are hilarious. Even for adults, they're just hilarious. There is, at one point, a unicorn that farts rainbows. This little guy here, even though he's a cartoon whatever, he's not even an actual species, he turns around and they blur out his bottom just to be funny, because you really don't need to blur out his bottom. They're blurring it out just to add a comical aspect to the character, and each character has their own not only special abilities but also special humor. There's something about every character that makes them very lovable. Yeah, exactly. Lovable, funny. Look, there he is. His butt's pixelated. It's hilarious. He's cheering for you. Whatever character you choose, they're your cheerleader, and they help you with your special abilities. But it's just a fabulous game. I will admit that when I first started playing with Peggle, I am a person who does not deal with suspense very well. So I would get so sucked into Peggle, waiting to see, if my ball hit the orange pegs or not, or whatever the case was. I would just get totally sucked in. But I learned to embrace the Peggle, and I actually found that was beneficial for me, because instead of stressing about everything, I learned really to just have fun with the game, because guess what? I don't have any special needs abilities, and I can't calculate the trajectory of the ball and the pegs. For me, it's just about fun. It's about stress relief. It's about comedy. Everything's calming about this game, from the ambient sounds, the lights, the different landscapes. And they do a fabulous job of mixing it up all the time. Not only the characters and the background landscapes, but also the puzzles. So do not think that your child or any other gamer won't be challenged. As you move up in the levels, they really get crazy. There are some... that's a suspenseful part right there, is where it goes into slow motion. And how do you keep getting the 10,000 bonus? You just have bad luck tonight with getting the... It's funny because it's got a little touch of a skee ball ending there at the end where you don't know where you're going to get, you know, that random bonus at the end of every match. So it's very rewarding also, which is another thing that makes it so good because there's no way Peggle can really... you just can't rage with Peggle. You can't play Peggle and not walk away feeling more chill or with a little smile on your face. And, you know, I always look at things too from the aspect of a mom. And I always was saying versatility means value. And this is definitely a must-have for your digital library because there's no one of any age or any game experience level or skill level who can't just pick up and play Peggle and have a fabulous time. And you'll always be challenged as the levels move up. You will always be entertained by lovable characters who have funny little quirks. Why is there a snowman with a fat gold chain around his neck? And look, the other one in the background, he's wearing like a sports tank top. They're keeping it real. Oh, I see. The pegs were almost set up on the characters. Interesting. I didn't notice that before. But no two levels are ever alike. So no matter how many times you've played Peggle before, you're going to have a completely new and different experience this time. And that's another reason why I say versatility means value, because you will get, what, years out of Peggle. I mean, or Peggle 2.
I rarely ran into say that I race it right here before we get caught.
Yay, wood achievement. Round frozen friends. Oh, nice. Oh, here's the unicorn I mentioned. Oh, the little mustache guy. Norman. Oh, he's a gnome. Yeah. I did mention all the different characters have different special abilities. So that last little character you saw, if you noticed, when he blew cold air onto the Peggle board, I guess you'd say, it made everything move slowly as if it were frozen. And this guy has the ability to shock the Peggle board. What are some of the other characters? Uh-huh. Nice. Bonus style points.
So any of those circle pegs, get shocked. Like.
And there's rewards all over the game too. So that's another thing where you can't help but have a good time playing Peggle, because you know, if the ball lands back in that little, the thing that slides back and forth at the bottom of the screen, the bucket, you know, you get a free ball. Or if you hit a certain ball like Mike just did, you get extreme fever. Oh, finally, 50,000. You know, there's... Even in Pac-Man, you can still get eaten by a ghost monster, but in Peggle, the worst that can happen is that you run out of balls to shoot at the pegs, and if that happens, you start the level right over. But here is a perfect example of a board that is a lot more challenging. Mike, would you agree? I mean, you can try only so much to guesstimate where it'll go, but like I said, this is one of the reasons that we put Peggle, well, for so many reasons, we put it on the 30-day Lighted Up Blue challenge. Not only because of a lot of our playtesters demonstrating a phenomenal ability to plan out the trajectory and just really clear the board without ever getting bored, no pun intended, but also how relaxing it is, how fun it is. It's never the same game twice. You're challenged, but without ever being frustrated. I mean, it's like the best of every world. And that's why I feel it's one of those must-haves in your digital library. Mike, is there a colorblind mode?
There is no colorblind mode.
Yeah. It's so vibrant.
Yeah, very vibrant.
Yeah.
At top 10.
Oh no, they can hear you. That's yeah.
I spoke to somebody at PopCap Games that did say for incarnations of games, they are highly considering a colorblind mode, but that's something we're working on with the industry to make more standardized.
Yeah, that's one thing that we are very happy about, is that a lot of developers, especially independent developers, are starting to include colorblind modes. And obviously there are some games that really don't need them, like Peggle here. You can see that the colors are so easy to distinguish that you'd be hard-pressed to find a player who has trouble knowing which pegs are red versus blue, or orange, depending on the calibration of your TV or monitor. But the industry as a whole is really starting to become aware of how common the need for a colorblind mode really is. This one's interesting because it looks like there's 4 pieces of pasta constantly moving in between the pegs, just to make it more challenging. And to me they look like, but that's not pasta though, is it? What are they? Just little cogs. Cogs or widgets. Yeah. That's true. That's one thing, you know, when I was talking about Embrace the Peggle, it's so non-punishing. You can always retry. I've gotten up to some really difficult levels that I've had to play over and over again, and I've had to strategize. Okay, where do I shoot my first ball in order to get the obstacles out of the way, or do I go for the red pegs first or the orange pegs? Right now, for me on the screen, they look a little bit more red, whereas they usually look more orange, but you know, some of the more difficult levels, you do have to take a couple passes and think about your approach. Do not underestimate the Peggle. Yeah. So that, wonderful people, is the beauty of Peggle. And I would be wrapping up right now, but I'm getting a little sucked into the game. Will he get the free ball? Will he? No. No. 2 balls. Oh gosh. 2 balls left. We can't stop the broadcast now. Last ball, Mike.
Pressure.
But you still got points, and you know, you just score again, and you can always change it up, change the character that you're playing with. Different people prefer different characters. Some people like the little ghost girl, some people like the farting unicorn and the rainbows, and some people like that, huh? Yeah, I'm thinking like a Sasquatch, Bigfoot, kind of a friendly, lovable Chewbacca type creature with who's very modest about his backside. So, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you for being a part of the Lighted Up Blue Challenge. And remember that there are a lot of games that can do wonderful things, not just for everyone in the family, but especially for special needs kids too. And we hope that this month is of value, and that we help some people, you know, get some really great games into their digital libraries and start having some fun. Because when that happens, a lot of quality time happens. Oh, free ball. Woohoo! We're gonna end it now. End it with a win. Oh, it bounced off the pasta. 100,000. All right. Woohoo! We're gonna end on a high note. We're gonna leave at the crest of the party and say thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you again tomorrow with... Okay. So we'll see you again tomorrow night with... Ooh, tomorrow's Zuma's Revenge Night. That's gonna be a good one. So I hope you enjoyed tonight. You'll definitely enjoy tomorrow night, so tune back in. Remember, it's Autism Awareness Month all month long, so keep it blue and keep it lit up. So we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.